Should I be looking at the camera or you?
I'll tell you what, look
You?
at chat.
Okay.
Tell chat. I'll sit by chat. You can just talk to us.
Yeah, okay. So I was just thinking, what would be a good word to describe addiction? And I guess the word that came to my mind was messy. Each addict has a different story, and their family members and everybody that's involved with it has a different story. But I think at the end of the day, the best word for me to describe addiction would be messy.
I've heard so many people say, out of all people, why him? And I don't know. I don't know why this demon crawled inside him and decided to make him an addict. But he's great. He's an amazing guy.
So, junior high was rough for me. Started using weed at the age of 13. Next thing, by 15, I was addicted to Oxycontin. And when I was 17, I was given a crack pipe. My senior year of high school, I overdosed. I got pushed out in a stretcher. And I weighed 94 pounds when I went to Abraxas after stealing $3,000 from the grocery store I worked at. I know drug addicts. I've watched drug addicts. I've watched my friends become drug addicts. I went to a different level. I just did. I did whatever it took to get drugs, and I would not stop using them. And I couldn't stop thinking about them. It was an obsession. It was a compulsion. It would make me sick thinking about it. It was something that you just don't understand.
It changed his brain completely. He went from a really kind, loving kid that was really protective of me and always wanted to be involved in what I was doing to someone I didn't even know anymore. And we didn't know how to reach him. We didn't know how to talk to him. He was angry. He wanted to be left alone, and it just spiraled. Eventually I got to the point where I myself spiraled pretty far because I learned how to micromanage people, and I learned how to be codependent, and I learned how to watch every single move, and I was a pro at it. I knew what he was doing when he was doing. I knew what people to ask.
We met, ironically, at a bar, which is because I was a bartender, and our relationship went really fast. We got engaged fast, and I didn't know that he was an addict. I had some people come up to me and they said, he's got a pretty bad reputation. You shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, oh, no, he's great. He's a great person. But then later on, I found out that he was a heroin addict, which I didn't know that when we got married.
And she found me one night, wrapped up in her robe, naked on the floor, with a bunch of needles around me because I fell out in the middle of her floor. And that was it.
But we had sick blessings along the way because he would do something dumb and he would go to jail. And then we'd breathe and we'd sleep for 6 months, maybe 2 years, and it was amazing. And then he'd come home and he'd do it all over again. But for that time that he was there, we got Eric back again.
I've watched a lot of people die, man. A lot of my friends have overdosed and died. And a lot of those times I'd be like, why? Why them and not me? Like, why can't this take me out? I shot up and I drove my car off a cliff. And somehow I survived.
I put my phone down about 7 o'clock on a Friday evening, and all along I've been praying, God, make my brother sober. Take this away from him. Take this away from us. And I hit this point where I was like, we can't find him. We haven't heard from him. I know exactly what he's up to. I'm powerless. like just this epiphany, finally, like 18 years later, I realized that I don't have power over him. And my prayer changed that night for some reason. I turned my phone off and I prayed, God, do as you will. And I knew when I prayed that, it could be an overdose and death. I knew it could be literally anything. And apparently my dad went to the police station and the police basically said, man, the only reason he's alive is because he was so relaxed from heroin.
Yeah. So the night that you turned your phone off and prayed that was the night that happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I went to jail that night. It was a Friday night. And I woke up in the morning and I was like, crap. Haley's gonna leave me. She's gonna take the kid. My parents are gonna be really pissed. I don't know what to do. And I said, okay, God, you're so high and mighty. Remove this obsession from drugs and alcohol from my mind, and that's it. And over the next 3 days, it was COVID, so I was locked in a cell 24 hours a day, allowed out twice a week for an hour. I had a lot of time to sit and think. And I realized that I was thinking about drugs and alcohol less and less. And I wasn't praying, but I sure was grateful. Next thing you know, I'm like running a Bible study in the jail. And I was there for like 30 days. Like 10 days into this, I called my wife. And I said, I got it this time, babe. God, I'm good. I'm gonna get out and be a pastor. And she said, I'm not gonna be some effing pastor's wife.
That's great for you. I'm glad you found God and you're gonna do your thing, but what's the difference between this and any other time? You know, throughout the relationship, we continually would build things up and build them up, and then he would choose or do drugs again, and it would just all come crashing down.
And that's when he walked into a local church and kind of surrendered himself and asked for guidance, and he got involved.
And this conversation was like a 3-hour talk with a man who said, stick by me, you get rooted, and we'll take this thing to the house. And I didn't stop.
You know, I know every single day this is a battle for him. It's a lifelong battle. I'm not going to fool myself and say that God just pulled this out of him, because that's not true at all. But he's different now. He's happier. He sees the world differently. And he has a purpose, and he realized his purpose. And it's pretty cool to see him walk outside and see that the sun's shining and appreciate his family and know how much we love him.
You know, our first house went into foreclosure. We lost everything. You know, we've lost cars, we've lost homes, we've lost everything with his addiction. And I think now we're just trying to rebuild.
I think as an addict, we always say yes to everything. Yeah, I got it. Knowing you can't do this. Like, God's pretty much slapping you in the head, like, Joe, like, you just need to, nope, I got it. Give me the ball, I'll take it, you know? And I kept taking it. And I was drawing from an empty cup, an empty well. I had nothing left to give anybody, let alone myself. And I couldn't freaking man up and tell somebody that.
Why do people even
Do you want to put this on, Preston?
What?
This piece, since you can match it up to the other one. Right, it's gonna hook on there.
Okay.
Nope. You're leaving one dot out. That's alright. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
We'll fix it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
They say relapse happens way before relapse happens. And whether it be smoking crack or a doctor prescribed medication, God didn't intend for me to pick that back up. And almost instantaneously, I hated myself. And it destroyed me. And I remember sitting in church one Sunday, and it was like God was like, where are you gonna be 6 months from now, bro? And I knew right then and there that whether it was Suboxone or what, that it wasn't gonna end up right. And that Tuesday I went in to meet with my pastor. And I had to drop a bomb. And it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Because he chose to love me. He chose to believe in me. He chose to stay by my side and fight with me. And, I
don't know. I was really angry this time, and I've been angry before, but this one really made me mad because I felt like we finally had everything and we were working towards, climbing up the mountain instead of going back down. And I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what our next steps look like. I feel like in this one, it was a greater fall just because the calling on his life was a lot higher now. You want to chop those ends off?
even when you feel hope is lost, you go back to the guy. One of my favorite stories in the Bible was a man who had a son that was sick. And he's watching Jesus heal all these people. And he brings him his son. And Jesus says, anything is possible for those who believe. And the man responds, Jesus, I believe, but help me with my unbelief. And that's what keeps me going. That it's okay to have those times that you're like, I don't understand this. I did work so hard. I fought like hell.
I don't know if you ever really get over it. I think you move past it and you find better things to focus on, and you just pray and you hope that it never happens again. But if it does, you know you got through it the last time.
I believe that God uses people to go through really hard things so that they can help the next person in line.
Who is Eric? Like,
Oh, man.
in his best self. Who is he? Sorry.
He is the most caring and compassionate man that I've come across. He loves his mom, his dad. Oh God, does he love his wife so much. I even told her to leave him.
I don't know what's in store for my family, but I know that God's not done until it's good. I know that for sure. And you just keep fighting.